Alright, so this is my third Xbox One Elite Controller. They've all broken. This one broke as well early. So, a common problem. Notice the wiggle, the play here. And these are supposed to be like no dead zone controllers. This one is fine for the most part, but this one just, it has like a good 10 degree of play. Anyway, all three of them have done that. A lot of people have had issues with the grips on the side becoming loose. I haven't had that problem, but this one did come up with a bumper problem. So if I press this, nothing happens. So you notice here, it springs. Nothing happens. Now if I push in here, it does. So if you take a closer look at this, you can see that there's a gap there. And I can actually see if I can do this without getting my hands in the way here. I can actually pull this out. Let's see if I can. My camera here. So you can actually see I can pull this bumper all the way out. So this happened, this particular controller is maybe 4 months old. So I found this cool kit online that has replacement parts. This makeshift camera stand is awesome. And it happens to be chrome. So there was chrome blue, chrome green, a couple others. I just chose the one that was prime. That way I didn't have to wait like 5 weeks. And it happened to be blue. I like the green as well, but the blue should be pretty cool. And so you can see I took the controller apart earlier this week just to diagnose the problem. But there is a split. Like the plastic is broken right here on that controller. And I thought about repairing it using a heat source to heat it up. But ultimately I like the idea of spending $13 and getting chrome blue parts a little bit better. And so I'm going to take a shot at repairing this. And we'll see how it goes. So the next step I felt kind of uncomfortable about. You have to just either get a plastic pudger or take a screwdriver, and you can only put it in a little ways. This is what these look like. They have these snap-in clips, and if you don't do it right, you can break them. I have taken this particular controller apart now twice without breaking them. Even if you do it right, you can break them. So you want to be careful with that. I hope I didn't just jinx myself. That looks like I got it off in one piece. Okay, so there's 4 more screws on the Elite controller. There's one here, and then another one here at the bottom, and then on the other sides on the same sides. Okay, so this is where stuff starts to get tricky. So this comes apart into 3 pieces. The first one's easy. Just take that off. It looks like this. There's really no snaps or clips. This is just held in by the 5 screws. So you can see there's here, 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 and then these 2 spots. So I'll put that up here. Now, this part is kind of clipped in on top and bottom. I'm going to do bottom first here. There we go. And then you got to be careful on the Elite controller because there's this extra PCB, and this thing has actually got a smaller T5 screw. So normally I think it's like a T8. And I actually don't have my T5 screwdriver handy on me, so I'm going to have to leave that in there, which means I'm going to have to be careful not to pull that data cable out. And so this basically just maps the four buttons. You could probably disconnect this cable, but it is glued in a little bit, and so I don't want to do that. Besides that, I can do the rest of the repair without doing that. So this is the part that I always hate. The centerpiece has to be kind of pried apart because it kind of rests over the back here and the top, so it kind of clips onto both. And it's got these 2 pegs here, pins that help hold it in place. So once you put pressure on that to pull those pins up, the back plate has more pressure on it, and then you could potentially break these 2 pieces here because you're putting too much pressure rotating it this way towards what would be me right now. So really got to be careful. Well, I just broke that piece off, but this was already broke, so I kind of expected that. So here's what I'm talking about. This kind of separated. Alright. So it's time to decide what buttons I want to replace and which I want to keep. The one thing you got to be careful for on the Elite controller, on the middle here, there's this little plastic switcher that selects mode 1 and 2. That'll pop off when you do get that final center plate off, or the top plate. And so you just got to make sure to watch for that and grab it. It looks like I need the smaller Torx bit to replace the triggers. Or this is going to be too big still. So it looks like I'm stuck with the silver triggers, at least until I get a smaller Torx screwdriver. At this point, you've already voided the warranty. Well, according to Microsoft, actually, it doesn't void the warranty unless Microsoft can prove that your repairs are what caused malfunction. And that's notoriously hard to do, but in order to fight their crap, you'd need a whole bunch of legal battles, and no one wants to do that. Okay, so I'm just going to... If I wanted to replace the buttons, I would have to take off screws here and here, and take off this PCB. So separate this PCB out from the center PCB underneath it, and there again, that's going to require the smaller Torx bit. I'm not sure I'd want to do that anyway. I kind of like the black buttons on the Elite controller. But what is cool is they gave you this kit comes with a blacked out replacement for the Xbox center button, and I would like to put that on there, but that'll have to wait for another time. So for now, I guess this is just going to be a right and left bumper fix replacement. So let's start by reseating the triggers into their housing. Snap the bottom into place, and nothing really feels really snug here until you get the screws back in. So if you're doing that on your own, something to look forward to or watch out for. But you do want to make sure that these triggers have a full range of motion before you button things back up, because that'll come back to haunt you. Something is not sitting right here on the left side. gonna start screwing these back in here. So for this repair, I actually didn't need to... Well, I needed to take off the screws still just to get the centerpiece. Okay, we got full range of motion there. There's two pins that are on the underside of the centerpiece that should hold this down, and this kit is good because it has those two pins. I don't know if you can see that, but right in here there's a pin here and here. And I also want to make sure that I'm putting my pairing switch in here. Probably going to be better to seat this as a unit. Come on. These parts just don't like to... It's hard to do this without hitting the underside of the pairing button, which pops it out of place. Just did it again. I'm about to say screw it with this damn pairing button. Son of a bitch. Yep, that has to go in first. No question. So I'm actually thinking the pairing button contributes to the way these bumpers break, because you have to set this thing down and then lay the plastic piece down over it, which means on the left side you've got a piece of plastic supporting where you don't have it on the right. I'm going to do this without the pairing button and see what happens. Okay, so without the pairing button in there, it kind of looks like this. You can see right where my index finger is, that pairing button's supposed to go right there. I have issues with it, and I'm pretty sure it's not supposed to fit in after this piece. It's supposed to go in before, and there's only one way that it can fit in there. But it just doesn't seem like a good idea, and that just happens to be right where the piece broke on the other side, so it seems like maybe that's a weak point, and having that pairing button right there help support it, keep it from breaking. I just don't know if I want to put that back on there without, because if I have to take this off again, it's so easy to break. Alright, I'm going to pause the video here. Alright, so I went ahead with my plan, not put the pairing button in there, and I don't really give a crap about the damn pairing button. So I'm about ready to snap this piece back on, making sure my triggers are lined up correctly. You almost pre-seat them when you snap this in here, and get ready to snap this home. Well, that would explain a few things. Looks like when they broke this from the mold, I am missing a center snap piece right there. You can see on my silver one, that's there. And I can tell that this is not something I broke because it's painted. And that means that they snapped it from its mold and then they painted over it. So this is actually a defective part. So it looks like I'm not even going to be replacing the center piece because I can't get this to snap into place without that. At least I don't think I can. Things just aren't lining up the way that they should. Still don't know why it's not snapping in on the front. Really starting to get pissed at Microsoft here. And now that I've seated this stupid thing, it doesn't want to separate without breaking.